That's a fan favorite as opposed to a realistic metric we can draw from. It's time to kick this one off and find out what's going to happen on the server as NAVI and BBL starts out on bind. Barriers up and a slow start from the side of NAVI. Spreading out in a default.
Yeah, of course, one of the things you really can do with this Gecko is go for some of those early insta flashes. Try and force people off the angles. You can, a lot of the time, retrieve that flash, although actually, Angel did. He had to go get it. It was a little bit of a walk, but he has managed to retrieve that. Not really going to lose anything too valuable early in these rounds, and almost just setting up for this initial take outside.
I think Angel's shift from the sky makes sense, right? When you're seeing that flash can still be taken, used again, and you can then breathe out the round like that. The curious swap, I guess, from BBL to quickly mention was Pora and Reezy just flipping agents. I wonder if that's a comfort thing. We'll see how that develops as time goes on. But now, with 50 seconds left on the clock, and NAVI very much tunnel visioned in, we're looking like an A push is about to come through. Viper utility already bypassed as they make their way towards the A site. Some space to be taken, but look how many players are still here, tucked in the back corners. These are angles that you have to clear on the way through. And if not, stuff like that's going to happen. Cushion are already on 2 and the third. The nade forcing Zipman out of position. Artist and Sugetsu left with it all to recover. And Artist does well to find the first, but the utility blocking him off. The shots coming his way, and the defuse already happening under their nose. There is no way to deny this. The round is truly in BBL's hands.
Yeah, great start for them as well. Again, something that we talk about with NAVI is sometimes these sort of attack side executions can go a little bit wrong for them, but a lot of this was just that firepower. We've seen it from Kushner, from Pora. These are the sort of experienced player within the mix of players that are coming up to that tier 1 in like Reezy and Elite, who maybe haven't been there quite as much. A solid way. And also, something I liked from Heretics yesterday, which we see in this sort of regard as well, fighting as a pack. I feel like that is something, especially in these early matchups, is just even just trading effectively and going back to something a little bit more simplistic can actually work out wonderfully for you.
Yeah, I did like the fact that for NAVI, it's not like they left the corner wide open, right? Xiao does clear it, but just a little bit too slow on the aim duel. Turkish aim, always something we're going to talk about, and here it's already on display.
On Ascent.
On Ascent, yeah. Next map up, of course it's BBL's map pick. There have been a few teams that have historically been foolish enough to pick Ascent into a Turkish team, and well, they've got their comeuppance most of the time. For BBL, 1-0 start is
Mitch,
perfect.
There's something you haven't highlighted. I was expecting.
I was about to get
you
there.
Even paused. Like, what's going on?
Little outlaw for Angel. It's good to see. In a round like this, it's perfect.
Artist
over.
Has, wait, so
Artist.
Sorry, you're telling me Artist, the player known for his like jet, he's known for his chamber operator, is dropping Angel, an outlaw.
Look, I don't know what Angel's been cooking in the offseason, but this guy's obviously been practicing his flicks a little slow on the trigger.
I just imagine him going, you left me, now you come back. You know, you do what I tell you.
You earn it. You earn it. You are their upper, not ours. Fair play. Fair play, Angel.
Put him in his place.
Yeah. Oh, nice shot. Sugetsu's head ripped clean off. And look, a lot of the guys are running light shields here, but it's mostly classics. Ability to fight, not great. Xiao upgrades to a ghost. You're still going to be at a huge disadvantage. Full shields for most of BBL. They just have to bide their time. These smokes will fade, and then they'll get much more open angles, but that's where Angel might be able to cleave some value out of this round and find a position to fight from. Good right click. Look, 10 damage is all they need to do to make it a one-shot. Angel capitalizes on the damage done. Pora's already down, but that's kind of where it ends. A little bit of chip damage. I was hoping for so much more out of Angel's Outlaw, but we'll see it again, I'm sure.
Well, I wonder if we might see it again immediately, because I'm just starting to look at the credits down on the side of NAVI, and obviously the trade-off of him investing that and giving Angel that extra little bit is the fact that now Artist is coming into the round with some severely reduced credits. So he's going to actually be left, wow. Yeah,
because he can't even afford. He can't even afford light shields and the outlaw. You know, an expensive enough utility belt, and he's been burning them up. So obviously, as well with Angel's flash, there's going to be a large period of time where you don't have those flashes while you're retaking the space to get the flash to then regen it back up. This means that Artist has to use this utility when they're clearing a lot of these corners. It's expensive, runs down your economy, but I really don't mind this for NAVI. It was a good idea to have that outlaw to give them a chance in the previous round. It hasn't worked out, and the downside is they've got one weaker weapon. They can play around that just fine, especially when it's the player that's lobbing those flashes. That's going to be, obviously it's not the same as the Sky really, but it's helpful to still have Artists around there. Lobbing flashes, not using his weapon. Pick it up when you die.
Angel still looks like he's basically entry fragging. I love the fact that the majority of the duels you'll see, he's facing first and Zipan's following in second. It feels so incredibly backwards. I love the utility being used here by BBL. Forcing him into a position where he's clearly worried about being pressured moments after, so Zipan has to just give up. And that was the early portion of this round for NAVI was, okay, I want to take some map control in hookah. Well, they're going to have to do it again, except half the time's gone.
It was nice avoiding the molly, not taking that damage. They're still able to fight 2 players in towards hookah, but it's going to be tough with 3 on site with a Viper wall just about to go up, slowing utility in play as well. This is just making them a little bit more discombobulated on the way through. Flash, wingman at first to try and leave some more extra information. Good kills, Angel on another, and with Xiao backing him up, this is looking clean. They pushed into a 3-man site with Viper utility backing it up. They made it look easy.
Oh, hey, maybe they're giving Angel the rifle because he's the one who's actually going to be fragging. We saw Boo just literally yesterday, had been clearly on the aim labs for the entirety of the off-season. Little bro going to be sacrificed. As Elite is the last man standing, stuck in a corner. Still a nice shot onto Angel, but the guns are going to be retrieved and Navi, they're going to have their first round onto the board.
Yeah, I mean, nicely done. I think they were in a prime position having made it through. I was worried with so many players there. That's where your weaker weapons, your pistols can really get that value, but they dealt with it very nicely, even avoiding ultimates along the way. Couldn't have went much better for them realistically, setting NAVI up for a round 4 where they are neck and neck in terms of the hardware and also the economy, and maybe even a slight edge to the economy on Navi's side where they'll have something to work with next round, but whoever takes this probably goes on a little run for a few rounds.
I think the only thing that might be interesting for the side of BBL is potentially trying to get his Ulma online. The stun, it hasn't connected. It's been avoided completely, but it is going to be Elite able to get betrayed. A dry peek into Pora, that's not something I'd like to do. Still got that crisp aim to give them the advantage. A little bit of a risk taken by NAVI and Angel, and well, he was actually the one with his ultimate online, so he actually had something that easily could have cleared that angle.
And with him out of the running, we've ended up pretty neck and neck, but the map control's the real problem. BBL blocked out. Oh, they are able to delay that plant a little bit. That's allowing some reinforcements, some damage done onto Zipan. This is starting to look a little better than before. BBL have at least got some control. That nade, though, will it push them out? It kind of pushes them, splits them, but no real after effect for it. Zipan flashed as he tries to use his ultimate, but oh no! He's missed the shot! The hitbox a little wider than he thought. Artist now has to clutch it all. The 1 versus 2. The defuse just about to be tapped. He's in the corner. They suspect it's safe gap though. He's inside the molly and they have no idea. The spray through the smoke and he hasn't got enough time. The molly eventually deals with him and puts 3 on the board for BBL. That one came a little close for comfort.
Only Navi, man. Only Navi can come out first day of the season and just kill yourself and then die completely to a Molotov. Okay, the second one actually wasn't a bad play at all,
look,
from Honest. It was the smartest thing he could do, but it's just so
Oh,
brutal. And,
no.
yeah, I think Zipan's going to want to forget that one. Either way, 3-1. Good start for BBL, and the weaponry a little bit shaky. Now, bear in mind, Xiao won off his ultimate as well. So there are a few things that could potentially pad the gap here, and you can see he's already going to be challenged. Saigetsu basically just walks up. Normally, when you see this from a Viper, he's got his wall up. He's trying to be a little bit sneaky. That wasn't sneaky at all. That was brute force from Saigetsu. Well, the rest of BBL are going to be looking to try and find their way back in. The fact is they haven't had to use any utility, and now another goes down. Just to a Molotov. This is looking rough, and in fact, well, one by one, we're witnessing every single member of BBL fall.
And it gets even worse when you look at, Xiao on the way through, and Bathrooms picked up the orb, so they even have the orbital strike online. There's just so many ways that they could fall back into a safety net in this round. I think BBL, they were hurting the second they lost that opening duel, really. It's one of those blink and you miss it.
Opening duels.
Duels,
yeah. He walked out.
Same second.
That's it. Like, normally when you're going for that sort of take, maybe you put your orb up, or you put your wall up.
Get like space.
Oh, no, you put the wall up so that if someone swings you, you're not just in a 2 versus 1. So Saigetsu just went, nah,
I'll take it.
I reckon I can take him on. And the fact is, okay, in terms of our league in terms of individual skill, he is right near the top. That guy who loves his tracker stats probably loves Saigetsu.
I bet he does.
Probably doesn't like me very much, but that's...
Probably doesn't like Angel very much.
Oh dear, yeah.
Well,
but you know what I heard from, I was talking to Milan, he actually said, he was saying this to Steel, that your peak physically is 35 years old, so Angel's not even at his peak yet.
I'm not sure the stats back that up, though.
No. Well, I think it's peak in maybe your physique.
Right, yeah. Video game reaction time might be a little bit
not
of a
my
different
stats,
measure.
Milan, blame Milan.
We'll call it into question later. We'll get him on the
Maybe
desk.
Pipson told him that one.
It could be.
No, I'm at my peak, bro.
You've had a timeout called for BBL, a responsible one. They lose one round, and they're saying, hey, let's get back on this. Realistically, round 4, you know, they were definitely throwing a lifeline with Zipan, having a little bit of an oopsie, firing in with... I'm just looking at BBL's coach. He's just drawing a circle. It's a nice little calming technique. I might try that sometime. But I'm trying to see if I can read some notes. Can't get the speed down. But no, the fact that round 4 wasn't exactly like entirely their game plan working. 5 has some issues. They lose 3. I get why they're coming in, calling a pause this early.
Issues. A dude walked down mid and wrecked their whole defense.
Some issues. Some issues. You know, you probably want to be winning those duels, but I don't know there's too much they can discuss about. Guys, try aim better. It's not really a strat, per se. But with the timeout coming to an end, BBL 1 round ahead, let's take stock of what they've got. Rolling Thunder close to getting some ultimates online. Not that it's easy to farm Braver Elites, but they, you know, because they need 2 orbs, but they might be able to find something, especially if duels go their way. Could be a late round play for NAVI. That orbital strike, dangerous. Artist one away as well. They could remove the utility, make it much easier to push into BBL, and considering BBL will be looking for a lot of reactive plays, utility-wise, that could help out a ton in terms of seizing that site.
Again, we're seeing the Dizzy used just to try and claim this control. Now, we've already witnessed it once in this half, but BBL fairly happy to try and use the Breach util to fight back for this position. Move Zipan out of this spot. I wonder if we're going to witness the same thing once again. Very patient, tempered attack so far from Na'Vi, just leaving nothing to doubt. And that's the thing. After the last round, BBL are going to have some worries in their head of going, okay, we've got to be wary of somebody just walking straight out into a position and taking the fights. Stim Beacon down, but that stun just being held. And bear in mind, there's still a Rolling Thunder.
Solid Molly keeps back any reinforcements. Reezy has a tough task on hand. Zipan swinging around to blind side. And a shot through the smoke from Angel. That was a wild spam that just took down Elite. So you're missing so much utility. That was their Viper wall to potentially allow them back through. Cut off these attackers. Now Navi have their pick of post plants with an orbital strike. There's no real worry. And with only 1 rifle in hand, it's Kushner X who has to do all the heavy lifting. He's done well on the first, and Saigetsu's tagged. They need to be careful indeed. A weapon to be retrieved for Pora, but the time too low. And with Kushner down, this one's starting to feel like it's done, especially with the orbital strike bang. You know this round is not going your way. Question mark?
It can't be one, but he can do a lot of damage. This is such a ridiculous few shots from Pora, making things costly. Again, the economy is very good. In fact, every single member of Na'Vi goes down to basically just 2 players. And the thing is, that wasn't an investment. That was 2 saved guns, and then just everyone else just full ecoed. So they now come in with some extra orbs. Nearly all of the ults actually getting fairly close to being online. That was very costly for Na'Vi, and that's the thing. They've had a few moments where it's just looked a little bit shaky. Maybe just the first game jitters. I think we can give that to both teams getting back on this stage again. And I guess something we haven't spoken about because it's such a sort of hot topic overall, I think, has been covered profusely. Artist is back.
Yes.
He's back. It's good to see
It
him.
is good to see him on the EMEA stage where he belongs.
Yeah. Hopefully he won't lose to Billy this year.
I heard he doesn't even know who plays for that team.
Hopefully they get to the event to actually play them.
Well, that's it, and it starts here. BBL have already shown that pound for pound they can take these fights. Round 5, not so much, but other than that, they've been looking good. Damage in the previous round was fantastic. Zipan sniped out of the sky, and too quickly for any trades to follow through. Brave does well to drop Artist. He can be recovered, but they've got to get out to the body. They've got to clear all these defender bodies in the way. Rolling Thunder still cashed in online, not needed. Saigetsu is down and out. On 45 HP, a spam and a nade closes it for BBL. The lead stays with the Turkish squad.
Yeah, I actually really like the way that they're playing this B site. A lot of the time, it's super reliant on, firstly, Elite being far enough away that his Viper wall will stay up during those executions. And the second thing is the stuns. I think Pora, even though he doesn't have the assists to really show for it, mainly because he's getting a lot of the kills himself, but he's been throwing in stuns that have just been causing so many issues for them as they try and enter into this site, that it's always quite staggered. In that case, you saw Zipan go out really early, and the rest of the team, they were still stuck behind that Viper screen on the other side.
Viper's pit right away. No real chance for Navi to push through that. I mean, it's such a deep pit. But Elite is deciding to push up, keep the information. I've seen Xiao sitting outside of A. This should definitely cause the alarm bells to start ringing that that pit might be pushed. But we can see that Navi have actually spread out even further. Now, after the pit's been down, shifting their focus to the B site, looking to seize some control of Long. Angel should be able to get that flashback nice and easy, safely behind the wall. It's a free little bit of utility for him to confirm there's no one in the close corners, and he can focus his crosshair on the site. This is where there's a few players waiting, and most importantly, that wall. That's just going to keep them way back. Oh, it's gone down. So they have a small gap, but they're not quite ready yet. Spike's still making its way. Xiao there with the smokes. Most importantly, Xiao with the orbital strike. Nice kill by Pora. That's Artist down. He stood inside of a molly and a snake bite just to get that done. Evading death, 34 HP. He'll just about be able to keep himself alive for a future combat. They're watching for a flank right now, but with a Viper's pit down, there's no need for BBL to go on flanks. They've got A pretty much on lock. They've left bathroom open. That's certainly going to be a worry in the next couple seconds, but it doesn't look like Navi have any intention of going elsewhere.
They've got so little time. Look how many people are on the site. 4 sat here waiting. This looks like it should be impossible. The spike is being planted. Little Bro giving it a go, but now they have completely run out of time and members to fight with. It is a solid hold once again. These gambles facing off for BBL, and I wonder if there's now just going to be that same sort of brute force pressure being thrown in. Again, though, you have to start looking towards those finances. Like, there is not a hell of a lot, especially if you look towards some of the lower players over on Navi. It's not really available for them to get a buy into this round. I think the main thing that should, or maybe will, sort of help them a little bit is the ults, because they're actually doing pretty well in that sort of scenario. Got themselves an orbital strike as well, as you can see within the screen. That is a beautiful circle as always.
Excellent,
I'm
excellent work.
Very artistic.
Yes. That's what the doctor said. And the A site, 2 players stacked up. It's your Viper, but again, we're seeing that same utility, that same wall put time and time again. The reason that they're putting it, though, is to fight into bathroom, or at least deny that control, but the control wasn't denied. Angel had snuck up, yet the first few shots don't land, and quickly BBL are able to punish that. Now, you're losing out on some of that initiating utility, but they still have quite a lot to fall back on. The problem here is weaponry.
This is sort of the classic Angel. It's like he's playing what we've seen from most people as a support agent, and he's not playing it like that at all. He is using it as a quasi-duelist. I'm going to pop flash for myself, and I'm going to go facing into these angles. And I'll be honest, it's not been working amazingly well.
No, it really hasn't. I think at the moment, maybe it's just coming down to a couple missed shots, you know? Right there, you had players not looking your way, but a very tight angle to fire back on. A risk worth taking, but a reward not found, and now we look towards the side of A, where a trade has been acquired. Brave, though, able to eliminate Zipan, buy a little bit more space. Orbital strike used, it's going to get them a plant. And that's about it. Quite a defensive, a turtling one. And in fact, they're not even able to get the plant down just yet. Buying more time now with an aftershock down to 18 seconds. Players are getting close. They can even start to spam pretty soon with Xiao down. Oh, that spike's very close, but it is put down on the ground. Just about. Damage through the pit is massive. Sugetsu on 49, Artis on 77, and down goes the pit. Artis has to do it alone. It's only a 1v2 though. A very winnable fight for this man. We've seen him do it many times in the past. The players he's up against, Pora and Reezy, they're hitting their shots, they're looking good, and combining together. The stun didn't hit. The second shot didn't either. Nice one onto Pora, but Reezy gets the clutch. 6-3, BBL now doubling up on the rounds of Navi. This is one hell of a start to Navi's map pick.
Yeah, it definitely is a map again where a lot of the time we'll talk about the defensive side being that favored of the two, but I feel like there's been a lot of opportunities that Navi could have capitalized on. BBL, though, have done really well to sort of pull back a lot of these retakes, And that's the thing. I feel like their B site hold has been fantastic, and then their A site retakes have been very good, other than when Saigetsu just slammed them. So they have put themselves in a fantastic position, and already we're going to be getting ourselves a pause. Someone we have to highlight as well, Pora, making his way back to the main stage. Obviously, we've seen him in the past on rosters like Heretics, even on BBL before. He is 13-6 at the moment while playing a Breach. He is having a lights-out game.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, what a return to the EMEA stage for this man. 13-6, 1 assist. I mean, he's just doing all the work himself. You really can't complain. For NAVI, well, they certainly can. 3 rounds here on the attack. It's starting to feel like deja vu. Last season, a tough start, losing out to Koi, a team that didn't really do much damage as the season went on. And we had our questions. But NAVI bounced back, as always, as they literally always do. But they're hoping to avoid a slow start here. I mean, coming into this season, there have been so many changes to these other teams. There's no such thing as a free win. And I think yesterday highlighted that, underlined it, and put it in bold.
So again, we're going to see this early Viper screen placed down. And I'm more so just looking at this man here. It's going to be that aggressive push from Kushner. Bear in mind he has his ult online, so he can look to almost take that control early. Try and find someone out. Also has the operator. The rest of the team still going for that stack up, but hasn't really found anything. Bear in mind, they've already spotted a couple of rounds ago with the Tiger. The Xiao was lurking outside of this position, so he's very happy to just wait and hold on to this control. And Xiao looking like he might be about to walk straight into the trap.
You know there's a good chance that NAVI decide to initiate, well, obviously with the flash there, but having Thrash, if they spot you in an isolated corner, you are not getting out of there alive. You need to make sure... Oh, they just heard the flash being taken back, but it doesn't matter. The shots through deal damage to Angel, but he's able to survive. There'll be no further punishment.
They're so patient, and they are starting to wrap back around. Bear in mind, Elite at least still has himself a snake bite to delay. But it's whether or not they face into this. Bear in mind that Angel also has Thrash. This could be perfect. I imagine it's going to get shot or almost immediately, and it doesn't matter. Kushner is going to land it anyway. An instant TP, but a trade out, and Elite's going to land the shot as well.
Zipan, 2 out of 2 of those ults have not gone his way so far. Struggling when it comes to the showstopper, but Saigetsu is making sure that BBL struggle with site control. Plant still not down. 17 seconds left, but it doesn't look like there's any further contention with Brave down. Smokes are out of the question. It's going to cause problems. Pora, only 1 flash to play with. Reezy already burned up his, but Pora's put it to a 2v2. A fantastic kill for this man. He can now buy them a little bit more space to cross over, and he spotted both players, but that information came with a very heavy cost. Price tag more than they were willing to pay, with Reezy now having to try a defuse under the nose of 2 players. This just isn't looking good. Xiao still has a molly, but a post plant is not needed. Not with time this low. Instead, they will face, and wow,
there was a moment.
They almost wish they had that molly lineup, but it worked out. It's all okay in the end. Saigetsu from this position, he just doesn't let you down.
No, he has been one of the more consistent players so far in this game. Even still, though, a close round, and one that actually, again, leaves the economy of both teams sort of on the brink, more so for BBL. Even though they managed to win 3 rounds in a row, they were close. And thus it means that, well, you got a showstopper still, save from the previous round. But by the looks of it, it may only be a singular rifle here. Now, if NAVI can grind back a couple of rounds, this ends 6-6, you're looking at a very good half. So for the side of BBL, it's a must that they do some damage here.
I'll be looking for even more than just damage, but take a look at the minimap. Just 1 player on the A side. Smokes are down, and there's a question on Kushner's mind. Should he be sticking around? Should he be running? Or should he be popping that ultimate? And it looks like that decision is being made, and a player was spotted, but the shot lands on top of the box. NAVI have got a team kill under their belt. This time it wasn't Zipan going down, it was Angel, but look, it seems recoverable somewhat. Just 2 players left, damage across the board, though BBL making it insanely competitive. And with Xiao just 1 hit to the Sheriff, it's now insanely close. Rolling Thunder for Pora. He's on his way to the B site. He knows that TP was pulled in just moments ago. Does he sprint in? Once he hears it's planted, that ult might come into play. But no. And with the snakebite keeping him out, it's a good thing too. He's just 65 HP. Can't afford to lose too much. There's the peek and the shot from Pora. putting him in his place. Sagetsu's disrespected them in so many rounds, but not this time. 7 for BBL.
Yeah, it seems like those were the sort of two players you want individually to take that fight. You can understand the confidence in the Red Bull clutch from Sagetsu. He's like, okay, I've been winning most of my aim duels. Let me take that 1v1. Let's know exactly where he is.
Down and out.
The fact is, though, it's maybe that molly kill. What did it cost? Everything.
Everything.
Angel going down, and Pora, he has just not been missing this game. We spoke about it with Boo. A man coming in that you don't necessarily expect to be right at the top of that board, playing more supportive roles. Pora's doing exactly the same. 16 and 7, lights out performance. Didn't even need the Rolling Thunder.
No, he didn't. That was the crux of it for me. I'm thinking the whole time, when is he going to use it? Where is he going to use it? Instead, he sits down, takes the headshot angle, and goes, he's going to peek me. And rightfully so. Sagetsu's had a good game so far, but not good enough to win out on that clutch to give Navi that extra lifeline. So to be 6-5 right now, instead, they're guaranteed to be behind moving into the next half. The question is, by how much? BBL search for an 8th round to close this out. They've already seen that it's an A hit. They haven't got players that close by. Elite might even fade back into the smoke with the utility in play, but Kushner's not going anywhere. What is that from Elite? So much damage done, and they're not aware of Kushner. He's coming around the back, taking every fight, and with Sagetsu low, 70 HP, surely not. It comes down to a fraction of a health bar. But BBL will find 8 rounds by some miracle.
That was unreal. I feel like he deserved to win the round. That was truly ridiculous. The shots that are being hit by Sagetsu, as said, that man lives in the aim lab, but even still, fantastic half for BBL. As said, so far, this tournament has been the tournament of underdogs. We had Giants and Foot, 2 of our sort of top 4 last year, going down to have to face each other in a lower bracket. NAVI, obviously another team that was up there last year. If it keeps going like this, they might be about to join them. It would be a truly absurd turnaround if our table was flipped almost completely. Gentlemate's going to beat Fnatic. Should we just throw that one in the mix?
At this point, you know, no, that's too far. But anything else,
I cannot get behind that. But anything else, sure.
But anything else really is up in the air. You know, at this stage, from what we've seen of BBL on their defensive side, now moving to the attack, a little bit more freedom for a lot of their players, a little bit more pressure on individuals of Navi on their setups. I am starting to get worried. Again, though, with it being the opening match for Navi, I know this is kind of expected. We all know this can happen. But they can warm up moving into this second half. We'll see if they've got what it takes to keep this game alive.
Yeah, this tournament format doesn't really give you much time to warm up, though. No. You 2 matches, you're out. 2 matches, you're in the playoffs, unless you're Fnatic, in which case it can be 1. Either way.
Grenade.
It's already looking pretty bleak. Pistol round in a good spot. Plenty of utility to try and deal with this. Wingman going to try and get anything, but he's not surviving that one. And now getting anyone onto this spike is going to be imperative. Running out of time to do anything, and now it's left all onto Artist. He's back on the block, but he's got to figure out where Brave is. Knows it now, but the time is ticking. The time is gone. He needs this kill immediately, and it is not happening. Another round on the board. Brave will seal it, and BBL, they're running away with this game.
If I'm not mistaken, Brave even got hit by one of those wall bangs, putting him down to a sliver of health. You know, there's been so many of these rounds where BBL have just edged out the victory by a slight bit of health, a slight couple of seconds here and there. That's all they needed. The extra pistol round victory with such a lead at halftime. Tom, the odds are certainly stacked against Navi now, despite a good performance in the pistol from Artis. We need to see them answer up, not in the next round, because, well, they're going to be playing pistols most likely. BBL, 90% of the way to having 10 on the board. And then they're in the home stretch. Very worrying times for So Marcus in the crowd. Scrapping the content ideas for later today.
Oh dear. Don't make him cry already. It's his first day back. Like, come on.
They don't go easy.
Not on Marcus, at least.
Nor do BBL, from what we've seen so far. They've been playing one hell of a game, and this is the squad that we were hoping to see last year. You know, I think for BBL, not making it to international events and whatever, that aside, it's it's about being competitive on the server, and I feel like they fell flat in a number of games last year. If they can keep up this kind of performance, they've got something special.
Well, that's the thing. This was the proper rebuild. This is where the fan favorites, unfortunately, had to go. And the players that make things competitive have joined the roster. And after Plant that leaves very little to be desired. Dizzy going through. It has left players blind, but they just don't have the weaponry to compete at this stage. Being slaughtered by everything that's on the board, at least getting a few kills along the way. But Elite will be there to close it. I believe the extra rifle will be saved, and all that's really lost is the SMGs.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, perfectly reasonable, level-headed round for the side of BBL. 10 rounds on the board like we expected, and now the chance for NAVI to fight back. They're one away from an orbital strike. They're getting rifles on the board, and the investments are going to be, not the best for BBL with some of the losses they've had. This is a true bonus round for them.
They're going to play as a bonus. They're not going to invest into all of those extra weapons, which they probably could have done, but it's more so just to make sure that they'll have a decent purchase into the next round. The other thing as well, unfortunately for them, is you look down at the ultimate orbs, there's not really anything particularly close. They can maybe try and fight for Brave's ult to come online, but realistically, you see the challenge coming through on B-Long from NAVI, putting the pressure on super early on in this round, just looking to almost surround this area and just keep that control. They'll leave Xiao behind, at least for now, just placing smokes and not allowing any real positioning. But after the early show over on that A site, BBL are going to start making their way back. And that's the thing. When you find that control, you don't spot anybody, the Dizzy doesn't get anything. That's where you start rotating your players away. And playing into this in the late round, just look at that rotation already. You can see it on the side of Angel. He's going back towards that A side. In fact, it looks like Xiao's going to join him. And finally, that execution begins, but the fact is there's nobody here anymore.
This is so nice, and it came off a little bit of utility from BBL. Putting up the Viper Wall, Elite used all of his toxins. But the window that they opened has allowed the whole team through. Now the flank is being watched. Poor's managed to sneak his way into a position you might not expect. They've just taken the site, remember. They're clearing it, but only half. And now there's a rifle on the floor. They weren't going together either. Remember, we didn't just see Zipan here. Earlier on, Artis was by his side, but having split up, he'll now make his way through long. A flash close for Angel, but this player's closer than he expects. Luckily, Brave is dropped. NAVI still alive in this round, still breathing with an orbital strike, eliminating Elite. No more Viper utility. Post plants now get a little bit easier as BBL are left with just Pora. They know where he is. He's already got a kill, and the sprays make it so easy to fire back. Well handled by NAVI. They've lost one player this round, and considering the utility, the hardware that was brought in by BBL, that's exactly what we needed to see if they're going to bounce back into this half.
Yeah, even still, though, it's a good sign for the sort of beginning stages of the half of BBL that they're able to almost play their opponents like that. I do think they'll be a little bit disappointed, though, that you're from a 5v4, you don't do any extra damage. Like, that's got to be infuriating. Okay, you bait out the orbital strike, but that's probably one of the reasons why Xiao was actually happy to leave. It's like, okay, we can clear a very big angle of this, and if they made it just a little bit more sketchy, they could have easily won that one.
Well, early strat here seems to be B-centric. 3 players here, flash down long, and a big push from Angel. But they've seen that there's no one here. He even used his own flash. I believe they had Artis pop one as well. So they were really looking to scrap for B-Long. They've seen no one there, so the rotates begin, but not on time. BBL were a little quicker than expected. They're already breaching into the site just as Artis gets here, and it's too late to reclaim control over Lamps. Now they've got another angle to fight from. This makes it much more difficult for NAVI to support each other. They don't need it. Sagetsu's going off on site. A quick double and a real chance for NAVI now as they can just slow it down, pop their utility, and make it so uncomfortable for BBL, forcing them into individual duels that they are not winning. At least they weren't. Elite has stepped up to the plate, but 3 more hostiles to eliminate.
Well, he's actually going to stick it. Just needing to get that plant down. They've been struggling to do that for the past minute. But eventually, they found it. Finally, Xiao can make his rotation after waiting patiently for a player to head through the TP. Artis hoping to find someone with a pre-fire, but that clock's starting to tick. They need to get a move on. Kushner just can't quite land the shot, and now Elite with everything left to do. He's been great so far, but this would have to be the best of the bunch. It is going to be another round of this climb back for NAVI, and that will also be the finances of their opponents put in the bin.
Yeah, excellent retake, and I think fantastic patience on display as well from this squad. You know, after this opening by Sagetsu, which really buys them that space to play with, another kill for Zipan, then they waited for Xiao to rotate in so they'd have that extra smoke to play with, they'd have the molly potentially, and just the extra body to go into those fights. And nobody overextended, nobody gave those kills away, and that's exactly what BBL were waiting for. Waiting for your opponent to make a mistake, not a bad idea. But they've just showed you they're playing a tight game, so BBL call it pause. Now it's time for them to bring their A game to the server.
No, I think it's important, especially on the attack side of this map. Like, we've seen a few teams recently run a lot more attack-sided compositions, like throwing in extra duelists, throwing in like Yoros and stuff to bypass a lot of the utility. That's not really the case for BBL. Okay, you have the Breach, which definitely gives you a little bit more in terms of setup, but when you have that Sky, especially now that it's been nerfed that little bit extra, you're going to be looking at, okay, you have a couple of flashes per round, they're not going to regenerate into the late round, so you can't have these extra little burst plays, and also the main reason you'd have it is for the defensive side information. So it's going to be interesting to see how they actually get things moving, and it can very easily get out of control, especially with a team like NAVI. Let's be real, more than maybe any team in the world, they have been down many times, but they are never out. So getting in that early pause, I respect it from the coach. Now we kind of have to look at what they're going to come in with here, because they're not going to be buying. They don't really have much to play with. We've seen a few pistol plays here and there. Pora especially has been sublime. But can they pull anything out of the hat to just get them closer, get them to that 11th? Because if they win this map, they're heading on to Ascent, which, as said, no one wanted to play them on Ascent. Literally no one. Yeah. I think they're one of the only teams who actually take a map off Fnatic, right? It was insane.
Yeah, you're right, actually. And you know, considering how the previous season went for them, you know, it really just highlighted it again and again and again for us as time went on, over the years even. You just do not face Turkish teams on this map. And for Navi, they've taken the risk. If it doesn't go well for them on this, they're in a lot of trouble. But you look, they're 4 behind. They've got rifles. They have some ultis. BBL don't have anything. They're running pistols. And based on what we saw yesterday, that means they're going to win the game. Because teams were just destroying on these kind of buys. Add to that, it's a Turkish team attack side grouped together. This is where they get very, very dangerous. But it's the recovery that can come into play, something like Thrash. You get a little bit scared, throw this out, find out where they are, and grab none of them. Oh, that's a little awkward. Nice shot by Kushner as well, and now it's getting scary. Elite was by his side. The trades are going the way of the attackers, and Artist does well to at least pull it back to reality. 11 HP on Kushner, but a rifle retrieved for Elite, and he's had some really nice rounds so far.
The Spike's in a horrible, horrible spot. Like, just getting that out of this corner is not going to be easy whatsoever. But you're basically going to have to push into the rifles, and I don't really see how they're going to be able to get that back without basically eliminating everybody, and it just isn't going to be happening. 10-7, Navi somewhat starting to stabilize after what was, again, a very shaky position, but you have to bear in mind as well, Showstopper used. The other thing, though, is ultimate-wise, it is still very much in BBL's favor. Viper's Pit, Seekers, Orbital Strike online. Everything getting closer for them having basically a BS round where you can just spam your ults and get them to 11.
Well, that's it. That's why they use the Showstopper, right? You wouldn't typically use it in a round like that, but when you look and you say, I've got 3 other ultis online and a Rolling Thunder that was, I think, 3 away at the time, why not? Why not? And look, it didn't pay off with a round win. Some damage. Maybe some information that they got from how this A-hold is being played. We'll see. They definitely still want to challenge for it. Reezy. Kushner.
Oh, Zipan's having a nightmare today.
You can tell he's been practicing his Raze utility. That's what I love about it. Nice shot by Zipan. He might not have the util down. Hey! There's a Showstopper with a kill. And it wasn't himself. That's a good one.
Third time's the charm. That's what they say.
They got there in the end. It's one of the weakest ults in the game. Don't worry about it. Nice flash by Angel and a kill to follow up. Okay, Navi certainly have the reins now with BBL falling to pieces. Pora and Elite left to pick those up. And what a task that is. Great flash coming out of Artist from the site. It popped. It pushed him back. And really, I don't know what the plan. There is no correct call. Roll the D20 and see where you're going. The odds be ever in their favor as they decide to go to spawn. I left my D20 here. I really thought someone was going to steal it, but I was very happy when they didn't. See if they can steal these.
Just to check, that's just a 20-sided dice.
Yes,
right?
it is.
You're calling D20.
Custom Lord of the Rings one from the
okay.
Magic set. But
yeah, no, that's really cool.
Thank you. Everyone always says that. Looks
Lauren
like
said that as well, didn't she?
She loves it. It might be able to take this weapon out of Elite's hands, but I don't know if they're going to quite suspect him to be that far down. 6 seconds left. Angel's on his way. Could be a weapon taken, and indeed it is. Now Pora wants to keep this in hand. Oh, great stun. They're all in an alley, but they're surrounding him. Damage, but that's not really the name of the game now with Navi's economy. For BBL, they wanted those weapons, and that's good denial from Navi.
Yeah, they need a combo breaker. And as said, they have the ultimates to do it. Everything other than the showstopper is now online. We needed a replay. Honestly, we needed it. He deserves it. He's been learning as he goes. He's going to hate us for this.
100%.
He's going to hate us too.
I'm actively praying nobody sends him these clips.
Let's put it this way. Doombros, I know you're watching this back. Don't show it.
Don't tell him.
It's our little secret.
Think about it, you know, from a
I know you guys are like
perspective.
both Swedish, and you should have some sort of like connection, but please don't do it.
Yeah, just take a look at what BBL are working with before we kick this one off. It's such weaknesses shining through from that side. Some ultimates, again, it's just not the round we expect to see that used in. Reezy has managed to get a plant for free. You can see the respect Navi are giving them.
I'm actually quite surprised they haven't thrown in the Viper's Pit here. But instead, it's going to be post-plant. And they do have a lot of post-plant utility available. Pora just almost waiting. He's going to use it immediately. Bear in mind, weaponry-wise, he doesn't have anything to really deal off this. The whole thing is on the time. It's delay. It's try and burn that clock down as much as possible. He's 100% dead, not even realizing that they've wrapped around behind him. Now, you see that orbital strike go through. Another few seconds burn off that clock, but they still have more to do. Already, Xiao is going to get himself onto the spike. He is going to go down. I don't even know if he did get it to half. That's the only saving grace. There's a small opportunity, but they have to get somebody on it right now, and it isn't going to be happening. They're going to take it just on the post plants alone. It is an alt spam, util spam round from BBL, and it is beautiful.
That was so good, man. The Molly didn't actually fully get it either. It was half on the spike, so that could have been a disaster if someone just stuck it underneath. But then the snake bites come down as they get on it, take down 2 players who are just desperately trying to beat the mathematics, but stats don't lie. You will die in that snake bite before you get it half. We know that, and now you do too. Unlucky, 11-8. BBL looking unreal. What a round. And it is surprising Navi gave them so much space. Unfortunate for Navi that they took so long to get back in. That Rolling Thunder, though, bought so much time.
I also want to say as well, like, out of all the teams, historically, that's not a BBL round.
No,
that's not something
no.
When we talk about BBL, we talk about Dragon Vandals and headshots. Like those are the things that we talk about. So already just a different look from this squad, something that they clearly had in the idea bank. But also, you have to bear in mind what that cost. So they lost 4 rounds in a row. They had to just use 3 of the 4 ultimates they have. The only one left is the Viper's Pit. So that is an expensive round.
Yeah.
Bear in mind, okay, weaponry-wise, they didn't have as much as they needed. But they can't do that again. They can't do that again until Na'Vi get probably to 11, maybe even 12. So they need to have something else a little bit more in this attack set, because right now they've won the pistol the 2nd round, and that is it.
Yeah. And a miracle round that to say is not repeatable is an understatement. That would be a miracle to pull that off twice in a row. Definitely some challenges still here for the Turkish side. They have got the blocks lined up for them. The Dominoes just need that little tip for Na'Vi. You know, it's not a terrible position considering they did end up burning up so many of the ultimates. Still, post-plant Viper's Pit is so scary. For this squad of BBL, they will be looking to get that down on the B side. You can see right away, stun, blast pack up, although Kushner slows it a little bit. His teammate's not as close behind as he expected at first.
This is a full long play.
Is there potential TP? I mean, they're going to just burst out long. Yeah, they are.
Yeah, this is a huge gamble. They don't have anyone there. Luckily, when you have a breach entry frag like Pora, I guess it doesn't matter too much. Winning the aim duel again versus Saigetsu. And they are going to get this site now for free. A quick TP through with the majority of players spotted. Smoke off into Hookah and a little bit of a lurk being left behind from Angel. But they now use that final ult of the collection to get themselves into a strong afterblast. Ooh, the counter flash is not in time.
A nice try by Artis. I think there's nothing else he really could have done there. With Brave falling. could be something to report home about, but it's the problem is right here and now. Thrash goes in. Okay, you've got Kushner, but there's players close, ready to defend.
Oh,
they
good
got
teamwork.
baited in. A player sees, but the rest of the team ready to fight. Xiao's got no chance. Hit that TP, save the weapon, and hope you can win 4 rounds in a row. Otherwise, BBL will go on to their map pick with a map under their belt. This is a terrifying time to be a NAVI fan.
Yeah, and the thing is, this round again, it's something simplistic from BBL. Completely taking over that long control. Bear in mind, Na'Vi knew from the knife that was thrown out from Artist, there was no one in hookah.
Yeah.
So they were able to focus in on that angle. Sagetsu was staring down the barrel, and it didn't matter because Pora wins that opening duel, and the second they get into the blow spot, that's where they have their ideas. That's where they have the, okay, I'm going to bait for you, you're going to work with me because we know what ultimates they have online. Sometimes that's all it takes. Keep it simple. Do something to work off the trading. The fundamentals for BBL right now looking good. And wow, at 12-8. Their opponent's map choice, 1 round away from taking the lead and going on to the Turkish hometown of Ascent. Na'Vi got to be sweating a bit.
A lot. This is a very tough position. Stringing together 4 in a row is not going to be easy, at least for BBL. Like we said, they won that miracle round. They won a round where they 5B, get the opening trade, and Viper's Pit down, and perfectly bait the jump out of hookah. Again, we need to see that normal round. Or, hey, just one more random. Save up those ults, do whatever you want. 4 chances to close this out. They've made their decisions, and the decision is to move towards A, taking down 1 on the way in. It's Zipat, a big player for the side of NAVI. Quite quickly, Angels trying to get on their back, cause them problems, and make them push further forward into the defensive setup and play from Xiao. He's got some support up top. Artist primed with a flash to go through the smoke, but not really able to get much done with Orbital Strike online for Brave. Post-plant now is possible. Down goes Angel. It's Xiao and Sagetsu to do it all. Viper's Pit, maybe if they can get close enough, they can find something, but he's stuck up in heaven and he's being watched on the way out. They want to take these fights. The second that they get contact on Reezy, the swing will come through. And I don't see a way that this goes towards Na'Vi. The time already ticking so far. Brave still has Orbital Strike, and it might not be used. It certainly won't be needed. That time ticking away as Sagetsu blitzes in. The Orbital Strike won't even touch the ground. 13-8. Another upset for EMEA's kickoff as BBL get off to a flying start. Their map pick, the Turkish map, up next.
Yeah, this is a very, very scary place for Na'Vi to be at this stage. They come in as one of the favorites for the tournament, a singular change, one that most people thought of as an upgrade. And while it's an overhaul for BBL, people probably expected at least a few teething issues along the way, but the fact is, we've seen Pora come in, we've seen the whole team look fantastic. Either way, it's not our job to break it down. There's a break, and then the desk.